Why? Does there have to be a why? You are my fire, the horror, desire, and I sure miss those days, 'cause I ain't getting it today. We saw the 2008 film that was halfway decent, but has aged kinda badly. And I want to know why. Tell me why that film wasn't left alone. 10 years later, we got The Strangers Pray at Night, not leaving alone. Then we got The Strangers Chapter 1. And now we've got The Strangers Chapter 2. And soon we'll have The Strangers Chapter 3. Tell me why we are getting a trilogy of films based on characters that weren't even that interesting, unless you just focus on the fact that they were killers. The Strangers Chapter 2, by the way, is the middle installment of this trilogy that was supposed to actually come out all last year, but then, the box office returns weren't exactly, well, they weren't awful, but they weren't great, and also the audience and critical reception pretty much savaged that. Fun fact, the first chapter of this whole thing, that was actually the second movie that I ended up seeing. I saw the TV Glow, then I saw The Stranger Chapter 1, and then I saw If, and I had to see them in theaters just south because I couldn't get home because there was an incident that shut down part of the freeway, the only main freeway through town, or through this part of the state, that is, and yeah, maybe that might have colored my opinion on The Stranger Chapter 1, but that's okay. Terrifier 1 had its moments, and set the tone at least for Terrifier 2 to take things in a different direction. And it did. It took it into the goddamn shitter as far as I'm concerned, with a super beefy, 2 hours and 18 minutes for whatever reason. Lauren Lavera, though, is great. And David Howard Thornton is great. But that being said, Terrifier 3 was really good. So there's potential for, as a film franchise goes along, trilogy or otherwise, that things could get better. Okay, so if you guys like The Strangers Chapter 1, for whatever reason, all 5 of you that happen to not be institutionalized, and I'm sorry, I know we all like different things, but that was one of the biggest abominations of last year. That was so goddamn bad. I cannot believe that film actually made it. It made it to theaters. It should have gone right to streaming. Rennie Harlan, who used to direct good movies. Well, I mean, he did Die Hard 2 and a couple others, but he also did Cutthroat Island that I recently retro-viewed. And they filmed all these back to back to back, which is fine. That might explain why the characters don't really look any older. But then again, it's only been a year. This was written by 2 Allens. One was Alan R. Cohen and one was Alan Friedland. Those are names I'm going to remember. And I'm going to wish for the absolute worst to happen to their writing abilities, because if they think that any of this was good, and I hope they got paid up front, I hope that they weren't, waiting on residuals and stuff like that. And there are writers that write some shit stuff. But my God, if you thought the characters made really stupid decisions in that one, in Chapter 1, there's even dumber shit going on here. Oh, and a preponderance of flashbacks to flesh out things or tell us stuff that we already knew, or give us, and by the way, this is something it's not really much of a spoiler, but we find out more about the Strangers, kind of, but also not really. And the Strangers, by the way, are Scarecrow, Dollface, and Pinup. And if you can't figure out who one of them is based on how they acted in the first one, then I don't know what to tell you. And that's not really much of a spoiler. But yeah, Madeline Petch, however you say that, the beautiful redhead that better hope her beauty carries her, because if this is an example of her acting ability, honey, you are going to have a problem getting stuff that's going to be taken seriously. But yeah, the waitress, Shelley, Emma Harvath, whatever, Hardhat is in this. And one character that stood out to me was Brooke Lena Johnson, who plays Nurse Danica. She apparently was a figure skater and has transitioned to acting. You know what? She's nailed it, and she looks good. That doesn't hurt. Richard Blake also returns as Sheriff Rodder. And we have a few other characters. We have a character, Gregory, that, I mean, geez, every red flag with that character would go off. But basically, we almost go Halloween 2 style, where we're going to stay at the hospital. No, we actually only stay at the hospital for a brief time, so I'll give them credit. They didn't steal everything from Halloween 2 because they didn't try to make this even halfway good. This somehow is more boring than the first one. It's more unnecessary than the first one. And I thought for some reason it was a connected universe to the previous 2 films, but no. This is an entirely new trilogy that just takes the characters in different direction. And I want to say, by the way, and I'm not going to say what it spoiled, but there are clips. They do a literal montage in the credits of what you can see in the third one, which spoils pretty much the biggest twist that I think everybody can figure out well before they even see this movie. This also features some of the worst CGI animals I have ever seen. Whoever thought that was a good idea, like what the fuck? Like what the actual fuck? I do not know if this film is going to end up making a min. I mean, it's getting released at the end of September, so it could possibly do pretty goddamn well. But they do all of these things that don't end up actually justifying this film's existence. There's also insane amounts of rain, and yes, it's Oregon. It's a town called Venus. Yeah, baby, we got it. I almost did that and then realized, no, that's a classic song. I'm not going to do that one. I'll do that one maybe for the third movie. Yes, I'm going to watch the third movie. You know why? Because, again, Terrifier 3 ended up actually being pretty good. And the third one cannot be as bad as these two. It just simply can't be. It has to at least be halfway competent because things actually have to occur. The thing is, the Strangers just targeting people in their homes or targeting people at a trailer park like Prey at Night. No, I didn't really care for Prey at Night. And that actually was initially one of my most popular movie reviews, at least for the first couple years of, me doing them on this channel. And the Redux didn't do as great, but I got to expand on it more. And I still find it funny that the heroine in that was the little girl in Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, which is another movie I need to revisit at some point. Assuming I haven't already, because I have rewatched a whole lot of stuff, and I have a bunch of stuff signed up, or lined up, that is, for Horror Movie Month. Stuff on Shudder, some classics, and also just any horror that I will find in the to-be pile, because there's a lot. So let's get back to The Strangers Chapter 2. I hated it. In case you couldn't figure out that from me beating you over the fucking head with all this, I hated this movie. And it's still probably not going to rank as high as the first one. I'm trying to remember where the first one actually was on my worst list. I would have visited that video or that old list before, but I didn't feel like it. It was pretty high. This, however, is a lot higher than it was. It beat The Rule of Jenny Penn, which till a few months ago was my worst movie of the year, and now it's about middle of the pack. The Strangers Chapter 2 has no right to exist. Maya's a goddamn idiot. They're wandering around the same, few locations, which is fine. It's a small town, and I get it. It's supposed to basically be like one continuous thing of hunting this girl down. The strangers have nothing else to do. And I'm sure we'll go with something that is referenced in this, justifying leaving nobody alive or whatever. I mean, that's probably what they're going to end up trying to do. But if you thought the Halloween trilogy by David Gordon Green, a name that I will curse until he leaves this earth, I will live long enough to piss on that man's grave for what he did to Michael Myers and Laurie Strode. But that at least started with the 2018 one. And then you had The Exorcist Believer that was so goddamn terrible that they said, we're not going to have David Gordon Green involved in this, and we're going to go in a completely different direction. That film was goddamn rotten. And this, the worst part about it, it's boring. It's also filled with stupefying decisions, but it's boring. It has no justification for existing. And I'm sorry to any Madeline fans that are out there, but she's not good. She fucking sucks. She looks good, and maybe she's a nice person. Maybe she cures diseases in her off time, but she's not a capable actress. Granted, they don't really give her much material to work with, but the strangers also are goddamn idiots. I mean, they weren't idiots in the first movie. They were kind of sort of idiots in Prey at Night, but they also were working with other idiots. But there's just bullshit in this movie that I just cannot believe actually made it. And there's the flashbacks, the insane amount of flashbacks, it's so endlessly padded. It's like Silent Night Part 2. Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. I'm going to get into spoilers. I have a few things to spoil, but not much. So I'll probably just rant for another 20 minutes. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. There you go. So, alright, there's one thing about this character, Gregory, that's introduced a little bit later on that I want to talk about. After Maya basically gets out of the hospital because Scarecrow is there and there's attacks and, like, 1 or 2 people get killed, but the hospital shuts down. Nurse Danica is there, by the way. Again, Brooke Lena Johnson just is gorgeous. I mean, good grief. With respect. Just like she's going to be watching this. But with respect, I mean, she is beautiful. And she's trying to be good to Maya. They end up forming a little bit of a bond. Her mother informs her, or her stepmother or whatever, hey, we're going to get an EMT there from Portland to bring you up to this hospital. Okay. And then Scarecrow shows up and basically, the Scarecrow smiley face guy, the Town of Dread, Sundown, whatever the fuck you want to call it, early Jason Voorhees, ends up killing some people and then pursues her. She has to get into the slabs with the morgue, like in the morgue and everything. And she just so happens to get into the one that has her boyfriend Ryan that's in there. That's no longer alive, by the way, just in case the morgue thing didn't quite work out. But yeah, an orderly gets killed. She's also able to do this despite the fact she has fresh stitches and she's got a gut wound and stuff like that. But she's able to do this just fine. And sorry, but people were calling this tense, and bless you, but it wasn't tense at all. She gets out, by the way, and we saw this shot of this hospital that she was in. They're nowhere near, like, a bunch of... I mean, they're near some woods, but not what there is once she gets out of the hospital. Like, boom, she's around, like, a residential street, and there's just woods everywhere. So, okay, whatever. Also, that hospital looks like it maybe has, like, 10 rooms, so I don't know how many people it could take care of. Then again, I think the population of Venus could probably fit inside my high school gymnasium. Or my old high school gymnasium, that is. But she's going along. There's a downpour. And Pinup Girl and Dollface are looking for her and everything. And there's a backstory thing about Pinup Girl or Dollface. And I don't really care what... I believe it's Pinup Girl. I don't really give a shit. Because none of these characters fucking matter. But, we basically end up getting just a pursuit where there's this rain, all this stuff. She ends up in this vehicle with Nurse Danica and stuff like that. And then they find a couple, including this character Gregory, that has a little smile tattoo on the back of his, right behind his ear and stuff like that. And she freaks out thinking that he's that. And he's just so obviously creepy with so many red flags that even if he wasn't one of the killers, he is, by the way, it's pretty much implied. They don't reveal him right away, but it's pretty much implied it is. He would give off so many bad vibes that nobody would want to be around him. But they're all roommates. They live on this lavish house, or in this lavish house, rather, on a hill. But she freaks out, jumps out the goddamn deal, and is in the wilderness. Has a kit that she took because, there's a nurse, there's Nurse Danica there. And also her military friend that was in the military, who she's cute too. I didn't quite catch her name, but... basically, Maya ends up now having to evade the wildlife, including a CGI fucking boar. There is a CGI boar in this that I had to stifle so much laughter. I was in the back of the theater. I probably could have busted out laughing. I don't think anybody would have cared. Other people might have laughed, but I didn't want to be rude. But if that is something that was written into the script, and the computer graphics people must have had like 2 hours to work on that thing. Because it looks really bad. And she basically also has a knife, I believe, that she took from the military person. But along with the medical kit, she manages to get away and also stab and kill this this boar when it tries to run at her. And she guts it and, that kind of stuff and does that. That doesn't look like doing knifing. But now she's got a taste for blood and she knows how to kill. And that was referenced in this trailer. But I don't actually think it was referenced in this movie. I was zoning out during some of this stuff, but nevertheless. So if you weren't ready for round 2, they're going to give you round 2 anyway. And the whole thing of is Tamara here. We get flashbacks of Scarecrow, and I'm going to assume Pinup Girl. Could be Dollface. One of the two girls. And there's like this stuff with boars, and I can I'm gonna make the boars do anything that I want, and all this, and yeah, just so on the nose. Where yeah, gee, I wonder who the hell that guy is. And the doll pinup face girl sees the boar gutted. I assume that was a boar they raised. I don't fucking know. And there are also these two kids. We see them a little bit later on, and they're at this school that looks almost church-like. Gregory referenced something earlier where, a lot of people have these tattoos back there because it was a church cult thing where we went to summer camp as kids. Gee, it's going to be a cult thing. We're going full Halloween 6 because we have nothing original to do. Not that we had anything original up to this point, but the first film in this. But boy, and it wasn't even like unsettling, like, okay, we're going to make it unsettling by just focusing the camera on him. The guy does a pretty good job. I don't want to say just competent, because he does a pretty good job being creepy, but his character is so threadbare that it doesn't matter. And Maya's constantly making stupid decisions. She ends up back at this house, by the way, after various things, like getting back to her house, and, the house that they were renting. And this Oregon State Internal Affairs guy, or whatever he is, shows up and gets killed within a minute. I mean, it is so hilarious. She manages to get into his SUV, but, doll pinup face girl has a goddamn crossbow, and takes out the back window, but also took out the radiator, in a big old GMC, by the way. I don't know how you could do that, but nevertheless. So, she manages to get the vehicle up there, Maya does, and gets to the doorstep and finds Nurse Danica, that kind of stuff. Gregory being all creepy. Gregory takes off, and then suddenly, a little bit later, the killers are back. Like, Dollface is there, and then Pinup Girl's behind her. Or maybe strike that, reverse it. I don't care. I think it is Pinup Girl behind her, but just happened to be there. And the whole is Tamara here thing was from a game that was played when Scarecrow and Pinup were a kid, by the way. Just wanted to set that right there. So somehow she manages, and this is just so funny too, because earlier she managed to pitchfork one of the girls in the leg. But somehow they're all right. And that was before she met Nurse Danica in her deal. Neither of them are walking with limps, so obviously it's them. But Gregory keeps being creepy and then takes off, and then suddenly these killers show back up. So this EMT has arrived, and everybody's dead, by the way. There's Danica, her very cute friend that was in the military. The other guy that looked like he was about 12 years old that got strangled with a bag, so at least he was older than Daniel Benoit. Why did I say that? I don't know. He looked like he was about as tall as Chris Von Erich. Enough about dead wrestlers' kids. And Gregory's nowhere to be found. Convenient. Really convenient. EMT's dead, by the way. But she gets in the van, the EMT van, the ambulance, as it were. That's what I'm trying to say. And doll pinup face girl attacks her, and she manages to stab her, with some scissors in the goddamn head. And Sid Vicious is thinking, why didn't I think of that? And other people are saying, Sid Vicious, what are you doing here? You've been dead for a couple of years. Master and ruler of the world, may you rest in peace. Deep cut for wrestling fans. So she does that, but then Scarecrow's axe, and with almost an exploding axe. It's just so hilarious that he's busting open these windows. She manages to race away in the ambulance, but then the doll pinup face girl attacks. Tries choking her. She basically puts on her seatbelt, races in, tips the thing over, and now she's in this weird area where the girl's dead. Basically, Dollface is dead. Pinup Girl's dead. Which one of them's dead? One of the goddamn girls is dead. It isn't that I didn't know, it's that I didn't care, because the masks in the other ones were distinct. Pinup Girl and Dollface kind of looked the same as far as masks. But anyway, essentially, we then get one final flashback where Scarecrow's looking at her, takes the mask off, and then they see there's this kissing game played between this blonde that Scarecrow helped at, after she fell over, outside the boar pit. She's okay. But it's a kissing game thing, like, a code thing. Is Tamara here and kiss them? Oh, let's do it again. But then, yeah, the other girl gets jealous and waits for a thing. Is Tamara here and hits her in the head with a rock. And that's it. And beats her with a rock. And seemingly that's what set these kids down a life of crime. That's it. That's it. That's literally what we get. CGI boar, CGI mouse getting killed for no reason. Remind me of a mouse I saved from a science class. Snakey, ain't it? Good mouse, by the way. It's only, I think 3 years old. It didn't live very long. Good mouse. But we then get a montage. And the montage I referred to earlier, we see, and I'm not kidding, we see, doll-face, pin-up girl, whichever one, with the goddamn mask and red hair. And it's Maya. Because Maya got a taste for blood, but also Maya's doing it because she wants to end up taking out the two people that killed her boyfriend and caused all this terror, I assume. Or they're all part of a cult thing and whatever. And yeah, this is terrible. Oh, and by the way, guess who Pinup Girl was? It was the waitress, the creepy waitress from the first one that everybody earmarked as a fucking killer. Yeah, it turns out it was actually her. So there you go. Yeah, Hey Strangers Chapter 2 gets an F. It's terrible. It's fucking terrible. Fuck everybody that thought this was a good idea. I think Lionsgate had something to do with it. If so, Lionsgate can go to hell. Whatever studios were involved in this can go straight to hell. I will be there for Chapter 3 because I hate myself. I don't know why I keep doing this. But it gets an F. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritlin, and until we are Chapter 3 again, oh dear, oh me, oh my, tell me why. Happy trails to you.